Good morning, one and all. Today we will start the new chapter, that is the unit number 4, that is the response spectrum theory. In last lecture, we have completed the unit number 3, which is related to the forced vibration, free vibration, related to the different derivations, different formulas, and the problems. That all parts we have finished in the last lecture. In this lecture, we'll start the unit number 4, and that is the response spectrum theory. Okay, we'll see in this unit what is the response spectrum. Okay, what are the loading conditions and what is the response of our systems with the different dynamic loading conditions. What is the Duhamel's integral, where to use the Duhamel's integral. Okay, and what is the effect of that effect on foundation with respect to the structural damping. Okay, and design spectrum, what is meant by the design spectrum, what is the graph related to the design spectrum, what it indicates. That all parameters we'll see in this lecture, in this sub chapter, that is the response spectrum theory. Okay, so first we'll start with respect to the syllabus. We'll understand the syllabus about this unit number 4, that is the response spectrum theory. Okay, so I request all of you, please write down the syllabus, and then we'll move towards the point number 1. One by one, we'll finish one by one all points from this unit number 4. So write down the syllabus of unit number 4. Write down on new page the syllabus of this unit number 4. So write down first the chapter name, unit number 4, response spectrum theory. Response spectrum theory. Below this, write down the syllabus. Write down response to general dynamic loading. Response to general dynamic loading. Response to general dynamic loading. Duhamel's integral. Duhamel's integral. Duhamel's integral. Comma, rectangular and triangular loading. Rectangular and triangular loading. Rectangular and triangular loading. Rectangular and triangular loading, comma, earthquake response spectrum. Earthquake response spectrum. Earthquake response spectrum, comma, tripartite spectrum. Tripartite spectrum, comma, construction of design response spectrum. Construction of design response spectrum, comma, effect of foundation. Effect on foundation. And structural damping. And structural damping on design spectrum. On design spectrum. Okay, so we have to learn here the what is the response spectrum when earthquake load is coming on the structure, then our structure is behaves in what manner, that we will have to see here. Second one is the tripartite spectrum, why it is known as tripartite. Okay, so that part we'll see. After that, what is the effect of this structural damping coefficient on the design spectrum? What is the effect on the foundation? That part also we have to see. Again, what is that Duhamel's integral? And by using this Duhamel's integral, how the effect of that rectangular loading, triangular loading will be on the structure, that we'll see here by using the Duhamel's integral. So that part is included in this unit number 4. So now we'll move towards the about the title of the chapter. So why this title of the chapter is response spectrum theory and what it indicates. Okay, structural dynamics, already we know that structural dynamics is useful in analyzing the response of structures to ground shaking caused by an earthquake. And in this chapter, we study the earthquake response of linear single degrees of freedom system to earthquake motions. Okay, means whenever this triangular loading and rectangular loading is coming on the structure, then how our structure is going to be behave. That study we have to do here in this chapter, that is the response spectrum theory. But in earlier chapter we have seen with respect to the theoretical point, but in this chapter we'll see with respect to the graph, and that graph will get in terms of the spectrum, and that graph shows the velocity, displacement, acceleration, how much there is a differences occur for the structure, that we'll see by the tripartite spectrum, and that is the in terms of tri means it is in terms of displacement, velocity, and the acceleration. Okay, one by one we'll see, you will understand what is this tripartite spectrum and what is the response of our structure while different loading conditions, and that part we'll see uh, in this lecture or the coming lecture. Okay, so write down about the title of the chapter. The structural dynamics is useful in analyzing the response of structure to ground shaking caused by an earthquake. And in this chapter we will study the earthquake response of linear SDOF system to earthquake motions. Below this, write down about the central idea of this chapter. Okay, in this chapter, based on the previous theories of dynamics, the response of general dynamic loading will be studied. So we will see here different types of loading, whether a rectangular loading or the triangular loading, how it affects, that we will see here with respect to the dynamic loading, that we have to study. Further, the Duhamel's integral will be introduced for analyzing the rectangular and triangular loading will be seen. Okay, will be studied here. Further, earthquake response spectrum will be introduced, and also tripartite spectrum also. So by these loading conditions, we have to go further for the response spectrum plot for the by the tripartite spectrum. And finally, the design spectrum will be introduced, and the effects of foundation and the structural damping on the response spectrum. Through this response spectrum, we have to study how there is a relation between this structural damping, that zeta, how it is increases or decreases with respect to the tripartite spectrum, with respect to the displacement, with respect to the velocity, and with respect to the acceleration. That all parts we have to study in the tripartite spectrum. In this chapter only, we have to study the response of the structure whenever the earthquake loading is there in terms of displacement, velocity, acceleration, with respect to the time, and with respect to the zeta, means that whole indicates that all parameters related to velocity, displacement, again acceleration, again damping zeta, and the time, that all points, all these parameters are indicated in one graph, and that graph is nothing but a response spectrum, and that is the tripartite spectrum, that we will have to see here in this unit number 4. Okay, so I request all of you write down about the central idea of the chapter. In this chapter, based on previous theories of dynamics, based on previous theories of dynamics, the response of general dynamic loading will be studied. The response of general dynamic loading will be studied. Further, the Duhamel's integral will be introduced for further the Duhamel's integral will be introduced for analyzing the rectangular and triangular loading will be studied. Further, earthquake response spectrum will be introduced and also tripartite spectrum full stop. Finally the design spectrum will be introduced and effect of foundation and structural damping on design spectrum. Okay, now we'll see what is the importance of this chapter. So from this, if earthquake loads are estimated using this random excitation and measured for previous earthquakes in the design, and where the structure of interest will be constructed. Okay, so if I using this response spectrum theory, we can understand how the effect of earthquake and that effect is estimated by using this response spectrum theory. Okay, so objectives are here: the response spectrum, response to general dynamic loading using Duhamel's integral, and that Duhamel's integral will understand for the how the effect is over there, how the response is over there, while the earthquake loading is like a rectangular loading, triangular loading on the system. Then we have to learn here that Duhamel's integral first. Second thing is that by using the Duhamel's integral, we have to study the general dynamic loading of triangular and the rectangular. Okay. Next one is the to introduce the earthquake response spectrum and the tripartite spectrum. So we'll study in this chapter what is the tripartite spectrum, what is the response spectrum. Okay, that part we have to study here. And after that, to introduce the design response spectrum. So whatever the points regarding the damping effect on the damping, effect on the foundation with respect to the response spectrum, that part also we have to study here. And last one is the effect of foundation and structural damping on it. We have to design with respect to the we have to understand with respect to the design spectrum. That all parameters we have to study from this unit number 4. So our first point is the response to general dynamic loading. So first point we see the response to the general dynamic loading. Afterwards we have to study the what is the Duhamel's integral. So So until now, we have studied the response of single degree of freedom system with harmonic loading. This type of loading is important for better understanding of concept of dynamics. Okay, in last lecture, what we have seen that what is the single degrees of freedom system. Again, we have seen what is the free vibration, what is the force vibration. Again, whenever there is a external force is applied to the system, then what type of the derivations and what is the effect of that all parts we have seen in the unit number second and the unit number third for the free vibration, for the force vibration with damping and the without damping, and it is also called as a harmonic loading. Okay, this type of loading part we have completed in the last lectures, but for the better understanding we have to go for the response spectrum theory. Okay, and however the real structures are often subjected to the loads which are not harmonic. Okay, in this section or in this chapter, we have to study the response of single degrees of freedom system to a general type of the force. Okay, and this response can be obtained in terms of an integral which can be analytically solved for simple loading functions for a general case, like a triangular and the rectangular loading, and however it will be necessary to resort to a numerical integration. Okay, so in last lecture we have seen the different conditions, that four conditions we have seen. Again, how the effect of damping on the foundation, that part also we have seen. But whether there is a general loading on the structure like a triangular loading or the rectangular loading, so at that time how to understand the dynamic, we have to see the how at that time we have to understand the behavior of structure under such a cases. We have to go for the रिस्पॉन्स स्पेक्ट्रम थेअरी. ओके, जर बघा आपल्याला ज्या वेळेला मागच्या वेळेला आपल्याला डायनॅमिक लोड्स आहे, स्ट्रक्चरवरती येणारा लोड जो आहे तो डायनॅमिक आहे. There is no any dynamic load, there is no any rectangular loading, no any triangular loading over there, but there is a damping force, there is a external force which is applied on the system. So at that time that loads are acting on the structure and their derivations, their effects we have seen in the last lecture. But beyond that, if the general loading like a triangular loading and the rectangular loading is coming on the structure, then what is the behavior of the structure, that we have to understand here by using the Duhamel's integral. Okay, so that is the response to general dynamic loading. General dynamic is nothing but it is a type of the rectangular loading, it is a type of the triangular loading, and such a types of the forces, such a types of the loading is coming on the structure. Then how the structure is going to be behaves, that response we have to study here in this unit number 4 by using the Duhamel's integral. Okay, so let's understand what is this Duhamel's integral. It is one of the part of integration. Okay, so we have to understand this Duhamel's integral first. Okay, as far as the offline examination, that Duhamel's integral type of the derivation is asked many times, but your examination is of online, and that's why such a types of the derivations you will not be asked, they will not be asked to you, but some of the MCQs they will be asked to you. Okay, so we'll focus on this Duhamel's integral. What is this Duhamel's integral and how to use this Duhamel's integral for the further processes. In theory of vibrations, Duhamel's integral is a way of calculating the response of linear system and the structures to arbitrary time varying external excitation. Okay, so in this vibration type of the theory, Duhamel's integral, where to use this Duhamel's integral? So we can use this Duhamel's integral for calculating the response to the linear system. Okay, so what is this Duhamel's integral? That Duhamel's integral is used where we can use it is used to calculate the response of a linear system and the structures to be arbitrary time structures with the arbitrary time varying with the external excitation of an impulse loading is a load which is applied. Okay, means here is the impulse loading concept will become. So we'll see what is that impulse loading. So impulse loading is a load which is applied during a short duration of a time. Impulse म्हणजे काय, already we have seen in the applied mechanism. In impulse is nothing but it is an instant load, it is a peak load at a very short time साठी जो काय असणारा जो load असणार आहे, that load is the impulse time, that is the impulse loading. Okay, a load which is applied during a short duration, of time, and the corresponding impulse of this type of load is defined as, and this impulse type of loading which is defined as the product of force and the type of its duration. Force into time, that is the impulse. Already we know that force, the product of force and the type of its duration, means it is with respect to the time, means product of force into duration, it will become as a impulse. And the Duhamel's integrals, we have to calculate response of spectrum in the linear system as well as in arbitrary system. We have to calculate in terms of the impulse. So how to calculate the impulse? What is the formula to calculate the impulse? So impulse, it is nothing but it is a force into the type of its duration. Force into time, it will become as a impulse. And that impulse is nothing but it is a short period of force which is applied to the system for a short duration. Whatever the load is applied to the system, that nothing but a impulse. Okay, it's a big load, but it's a big load, but it is for a short time only. The impulse, the force that is defined as a Fi. You can see here that impulse force, that is the Fi, is defined in figure. You can see the figure, and at time t, that is the time is t, and during the integral of, that is the during the integral of di, and is represented by the shaded area. We'll see that whatever the area, and is equal to the f into di. So di, where I is the time, they have given the depicted in figure at time I, that time is given, they have given as I, and during the integral the I is represented by the shaded area, and is equal to the Fi into di. F is nothing but it is a force, and di is nothing but a time, and which is a time is for a short duration, that is nothing but a impulse. Okay, so I request all of you, please write down this first and then move towards the diagram, and what is the derivation related to the impulse, related to this Duhamel's integral. Okay, so you can understand easily what is the Duhamel's integral and how it useful to calculate the response under the rectangular loading and the triangular loading. Okay, so write down Duhamel's integral, Duhamel's integral, Duhamel's integral. Below this, write down in theory of vibration, in theory of vibration, in theory of vibration, comma, Duhamel's integral is a way of, Duhamel's integral is a way of calculating the response of, calculating the response of linear system, linear system and structures to arbitrary time, structures to arbitrary time, arbitrary time, varying external excitation, external excitation, comma, and impulse loading, and impulse loading is a load, is a load which is applied, which is applied during a short duration of time, during a short duration of time, during the short duration of time. The corresponding impulse of the type of load is the corresponding impulse of this type of load is defined as the product of the force product of the force product of the force and the type of its duration full stop. The impulse for the force Fi, the impulse for the force Fi shown in figure at time I during this integral di is represented by the shaded area and is equal to Fi into di. Now you plot this diagram, that is of the Duhamel's integral. Draw the diagram. Where Fi is nothing but where this Fi is indicated as a shaded area, that Fi is nothing but it is a impulse force I into that time, that is the di is the time which is respect to the x-axis. On y-axis there is a force into time. So what is this impulse? So impulse will be here, that is the force into di. Okay, so that is the formula will come here. We can write here as a Fi into di. So if we take the short slide over here, okay, and we can take the integration from 0 to t, okay, so that will become Fi into di. So draw this diagram. Okay, so now we'll move towards the next point. So already we know what is the impulse. Impulse is nothing but already we know the impulse. So what is the formula for impulse? Impulse already we know that is equal to, impulse is nothing but to force into time. But yeah, as per the Newton's law, impulse is acting on the body, produces a change in velocity. Change in velocity with the which can be determined from Newton's law of motion. So as per the Newton's law of motion, what is the impulse? Impulse is nothing but it is respect to the m into a. So mass into acceleration. So that impulse is f with respect to the I, that is equal to m into a. So what is this f? F into I, if I is equal to, that is the impulse force is equal to mass into acceleration. So acceleration will be equal to dv by dt. That dv by dt is called as a acceleration. Of rearranging, if we rearrange the terms, then automatically we'll get dv is equal to f, that f with respect to the I into dt divided by m. So that will be as a rearranging the terms, that is with respect to the velocity. So dv will be equal to fi into dt divided by m. Okay, I hope all of you have understood. First, we have seen what is the Duhamel's integral. The Duhamel's integral, which will be helpful to us to understand the response of the general dynamic loading. And in that general dynamic loading, we have to understand first the peak, that is the impulse load. What is the impulse? That is the for a short duration of time. The force is there. That force is nothing but the impulse force. And from that, we have calculated the impulse force is equal to the Fi into di. So Fi is nothing but it is a impulse force, that is the force into its short duration time, that is the di is the time. So after that, that impulse is equal to force into time. And after that, if we go for the second equation about the Newton's law of motion, that impulse is equal to force into acceleration. So what is the force? Here that force is here, that is F into I. And where Fi is equal to F is equal to mass into acceleration. So mass is here m, and A is the acceleration dv by dt. And if rearrange the terms, so we'll get that dv is equal to Fi into ddi or dt divided by its m, divided by m. So where this Fi di, where this Fi di, that is the impulse, and dv is the incremental velocity. Okay, we can understand from LHS and the RHS side, where dv is the velocity and where Fi into di, that is the impulse over here. So where the impulse and this is the velocity. So incremental velocity may be considered as initial velocity of, so we'll understand for, I will erase this. Okay, so this dv is nothing but it is a incremental velocity, and Fi di is nothing but it is a impulse. Okay, the incremental velocity may be considered as the initial velocity of mass at time t is equal to 0. And that already we have seen for the first derivation, which is related to the undamped pre-vibration system. So that part will become here, and that is the x of t will be equal to x naught cos omega and t plus that velocity divided initial velocity at time t is equal to 0 divided by omega n into sine of omega t. Okay, and if we calculate such a velocity at time t is equal to 0 from this above equation, so it will become an initial velocity v naught into that Fi, that is the impulse force, into di, that is the time, and divided by its mass. So at time t is equal to 0, that is I is nothing but it is a initial time. Okay, and from that if we calculate this displacement, that from v naught is there, so we can, if we take or replace this v with respect to dx of t, that will be equal to fi into di divided by m omega n into sine of omega t, that is t is nothing but a t minus that I time. Okay, and so that will be become as a equation of motion over here. And for the loading conditions, that loading history may be regarded as a series of short impulse of successive incremental time, that is di, and each producing its own differential response at time t of the form given equation, and therefore the total displacement, and from this we can calculate the total displacement, we can calculate by taking the integration on the both sides. So x of t will be equal to 1 upon m omega n, and where the integration is 0 to t f of I into sine of omega t minus tau into di. So that is the equation of Duhamel's integral which will be produces. And the last equation of generalized equation for the Duhamel's integral will be produced here as x of t is equal to x naught cos omega nt plus v naught upon omega n into sine of omega nt plus additional terminology of a Duhamel's integral is 1 upon m omega n into integration of 0 to t f of I is nothing but it is a time, sine of omega n into t minus I. So t and this t both are the times, but there is differences and with respect to the di. So that is the Duhamel's integral, and we have to use this equation for calculating the different loading conditions at a rectangular loading and at a triangular loading. So I request all of you, please write down short notes about this Duhamel's integral, so we can move forward for the different loading conditions. Write down: this impulse acting on a body of mass m, this impulse acting on a body of mass m produces a change in velocity, which can be determined from Newton's law of motion. F of I is equal to m into a. And so below this we can write m into dv by dt is equal to f of I. So rearranging the terms, we can write dv is equal to f of I into di by m. Where f of I into di is impulse. F of I into di is impulse, and dv is incremental velocity. dv is incremental velocity. Below this incremental velocity may be considered as initial velocity of mass at time t, initial velocity of mass at time t, we know that For undamped free system, the solution is given by x of t is equal to x naught cos omega nt plus v naught upon omega n into sin omega t. Below this, considering the initial velocity, considering the initial velocity v naught is equal to fi into di divided by m at initial time and the displacement at time t can be given as displacement at time t is given by dx of t fi into di upon m omega n into sine of omega t minus I. So below this we can write x of t will be equal to 1 upon m omega n integration of 0 to t f of I into sine of omega n minus t minus I into di at from time t is equal to 0 to time t is equal to t. Okay, below this write down integral in this equation is known as integral part from this equation is known as Duhamel's integral, and the effect of initial displacement and initial velocity x naught and v naught is given below at time t is equal to 0, and that is x of t will be equal to x naught cos omega t plus v naught upon omega n into sine of omega n t plus 1 upon m omega n into integration of 0 to t f of I into sine of omega n into t of I into di. Okay, so that is the equation of Duhamel's integral. Now we have to see the first case, that is the while a loading condition is like a constant force. Okay, I request all of you please draw the diagram. So we'll move towards next point, how to solve these derivations and important formulas related to this Duhamel's integral by using the Duhamel's integral with a constant loading. Okay, now we'll see the case number 1. I hope all of you have completed your drawing for a constant force. How to apply this Duhamel's integral for the constant force, that we'll see here. In the constant force, you can see this is a time period t at a x direction. On y direction, there is a force which is applied, that is the impulse force. Now we'll see the constant for what is the different boundary conditions and what is the loading condition here for this force, that is the constant force. So we have considered here the constant force of amplitude, that is the magnitude is here, that is F naught is the constant force. You can see which is shown here through this line only. It is a straight line. which is parallel to the time t. So it is a constant force at time t. And if we can apply the boundary conditions at initial condition, there is an initial displacement and the velocity both are 0 at time t is equal to 0. So you can see here from this figure, you can see at this initial condition, there is a time, both this time at this initial condition, that time t is equal to 0. So at that time, that velocity will be equal to 0 and the displacement is also 0. So that whatever the Duhamel's equation, we got this total Duhamel's integral that x of t is equal to the, that is the x naught cos omega n t plus v naught upon omega n into sine of omega n t plus whatever the terminology over here related to the Duhamel's integral, that is the f of I into sine of omega n into that t minus tau, that is the factor over here, into that is the d tau, that is the parameter related to the time. But if we consider the initial boundary condition that x naught will become 0, that v naught will become 0, means remaining equation of this Duhamel's integral for constant force is, that is the x of t will be only the last term, that is the term is remaining here, that is the 0 to t, and that is the f of I into sine of omega into t is 0. So that is the t minus tau into the t minus tau into d tau. Okay, so now by applying these boundary conditions, so the remaining factor, that is the Duhamel's integral, and it is indicated as the effect of this constant force on the loading. I will erase this part and I will show you. Okay, I hope all of you understood this, how to apply this boundary condition. At the time t is equal to 0, you can see here at time t is equal to 0, there is a velocity 0 and the the displacement is also 0 at time t is equal to 0. And that's why the first two parameters from this equation, that will become 0, and which are related to the x and which are related to the velocity v, and that will become 0 here. And that's why the effect will be shown here in terms of the third part, which is related to the Duhamel's integral part. It is an integration part only. So now we have to solve this integration, because x and y term, x and v term, that is become 0. That's why third terminology is remaining. We know the time t is changes from 0 to t, 1 upon m omega n, that is f of tau into sine of omega n into t minus tau. With respect to the d tau, we have to make the integration part. So we have to calculate this integral here. So f naught upon m omega n, that f of tau at time t is equal to 0, it will become again f naught. So f naught upon m omega n into integration of sine. Okay, what is the integration of sine? Integration of sine is minus cos, and integration of sine is minus cos, but integration of cos is only sine. Okay, if you know the all the rules, all the whatever the trigonometric functions and their integrations and their derivatives, then you can solve easily such a derivations. Okay, so f of tau at time t is equal to 0, it will become f naught. So take it outside, divided by m omega n. Already we know derivative will make the constant as a multiplication, but in the integration we can make as a coefficient which is at a denominator side, and that's why that omega n will be going to be downside, and it will become f naught upon m omega n square into bracket, that integration of sine is equal to the minus cos of omega n into t minus tau, and that limit is here with respect to the 0 to t. So now we have to solve this, rearranging the terms, f naught upon m omega n square, that t minus, so that removing this minus sign, so we have to take the limit first, that is the t minus cos of omega n into t minus 0. So here the last equation is becomes, that is the f naught upon m omega n square into 1 minus cos of omega n t. Okay, if we divide again by k from the numerator and denominator, that will become f naught upon k, that is the x static, and where omega n square getting cancelled into 1 minus cos omega n t. That is the equation of motion for the constant force by using the Duhamel's integral. I will show you once again how this equation is coming here. I will show you how I have solved this integration part over here. So that is the integration. You can see that time t0, that f naught upon m omega n is here. Dot sine of omega n into bracket t minus I will say that is tau, and we have to take the derivative integration with respect to the d tau. That integration we have to solve. So you can see here that x of t will be equal to f naught upon m omega n. Okay, derivative of sine already we know that is the cos of omega n into that is t minus tau. That limit is with respect to the 0 to t, and that omega n divided by omega n, because in the derivative there is a multiplication will be over there of that coefficient, but in the integration there is a divided, that coefficient will be at the denominator side. So that x of t will be equal to what is here, f naught upon m omega n square into bracket that minus of cos of that omega n into t minus that tau, the t minus that tau, okay, t minus that tau minus that is the cos of only omega n into tau. So that time t will be equal to 0. So we can, that tau is equal to t. So at that time that parameter will be equal to become 0. Means it will be equal to that minus sign, that there is a minus sign, that will become as a plus. So it will be equal to, because this is a common sign, this is a minus sign, it's a common sign. So taking inside, that will become as a cos t minus t, that will be that 0 minus 20, it will be equal to f naught upon m omega n square into bracket 1 minus, okay, Sonali Patil is asking me what is that tau. What in last Duhamel's integral we have taken that tau, that equation we have taken that di. So di, or you can say here that di is here as a time. D tau is also time. I is also here. It is also considered as a time. Okay, so we have to only take the integration with respect to the t. So that t and tau, or t and I, that both are getting replaced with each other when we apply the limits. And at that time, that part will become that t minus t, that will become as a 0. Means it will be cos 0 is here, that cos 0 is 1. And 1 minus remaining parameter, that is the cos of omega and t. Okay, and that's why that cos omega and t is remaining here. And at the outside, that parameter is f naught upon m omega n square. And if we divide it by this k on the both numerator and the denominator, that omega n getting cancelled from the denominator, and at the top side it will become as a x static. Is it okay, Sonali Patil?
Yes, madam.
Okay, there here t is also time. Okay, but that time is getting differentiated from 0 to t. Okay, and I is also time, but at the Duhamel's integral I have shown you, or I told you that is I. Here also you can consider it is a I, no problem. Is it okay?
Okay, madam.
And that f naught upon m omega n square, that is taken outside. And if we divide at numerator and denominator by k, then f naught upon k, already we have seen in the last lecture also, f naught by k is a x static value. Okay, and that x static divided by, I will show you once again. Okay, Sheetal Behiravde. Sheetal, you are asking me the omega. So omega, that parameter already we have covered in the last two chapters. Omega is nothing but it is a natural frequency. Okay, natural frequency, in which is indicated by omega. I will show you. Omega is nothing but it is a natural frequency. Last lecture la hota ka? You have listen these all lectures. लास्टच्या लेक्चरला होता का शीतल? You were present or not? You were.
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's why you didn't understand what is this omega. Okay, but you listen all the lectures, so you will get you will get automatically what is omega, what is that ecstatic. Okay, what is the formula here? Whatever the formulas I am using here for the cancelling again omega n with respect to the omega n. Okay, now I will show you. One second. Lectures सगळे थोडे attend करा, so you will get what is omega n, again what is r, what is zeta, what is again x by y, what is f naught upon if. So that all parameters you should know. That all parameters I have cleared in the last lecture only. Okay, okay. X of t, that f naught I will show you here how this elaboration is I have made. So now that up to this you have understood as per my knowledge, this one is nothing but how this one is coming, that is cos 0 is 1 minus cos of omega n t, that t minus tau. So tau is, if you limit of 0 if you put, then that will become as a cos of omega n t. Now we have to convert this in terms of the x static. So how to convert? There we have to divide by k, and if we multiply by k on the numerator and denominator, if divided by k, that will become same. So already we know that f naught by k is a x static. So it is called as a x static. And omega n square is the same. And k by m, already we know the formula, that is omega n. What is this? What is the omega n? Omega n is equal to root of k by m. That formula in unit number second, जेव्हा आपण चालू केला होता. So at that time we have listened, or we have whatever the point we have covered from that formula number 1 is like only is this, that is the omega n is equal to root of k by m. Okay, so by squaring on both the sides, what will be here? That is the k by m only. But here is a k by m by k is here, means it will become as a 1 upon omega n square, and it is called as a m by k. And if we put this value into 1 upon omega n square into bracket 1 minus cos of omega n t. So what is remaining? That omega n square, that omega n square is getting cancelled. So only remaining parameter is here like this, that is the xst into 1 minus cos omega n t. That is the x of t for the constant force. Now it is okay, Sorali Patil? समजलं का? It is very simple. If you understand the step by step, जर तुम्ही हा स्टडी केला तर that is very easy part related to the numerical integrations and the numerical derivatives. If you know the derivative, if you know the integration, then it is very easy part to you. But as far as your examination is concerned, online examination, then such a integration and derivative part will not become over there. Only MCQ based examination, only MCQ. You have to focus on the MCQs. Whatever the theory part is here, what is impulse, again what is the impulse force, what is the unit of this impulse, again what type of the boundary conditions are coming here. Likewise, whatever the short notes you have to be made, and you have to solve whatever the MCQs I will share you or already shared you to the your teaching diary. Okay, तितकं जरी केलं तर that will be sufficient for you. Okay, so I hope up to the diagram part you have completed. So now you solve this integration. Write down. Consider the write down the case number 1, constant force. You have drawn the diagram. Below this, write down. Consider the case of constant force of magnitude. Consider the case of constant force of magnitude F naught applied suddenly to the undamped oscillator at time t is equal to 0, for both the displacement and velocity, both displacement and velocity equal to 0, the Duhamel's equation can be written as x of t is equal to x of t will be equal to 1 upon m omega n into integration of 0 to t into f of tau into sine of omega n into t minus tau into d tau. Now you have to solve this integration. F of tau is equal to the f naught at initial conditions. Now you can solve this integration. Already you know what is the integration of sine, that is the minus cos. So limits are here, that is 0 to t. Put these limits, replace this tau by 0, replace this tau by t with the limits, upper limit and the lower limit. Okay, and from this you will get the x static divided by k on the numerator and denominator, that will be the same, and you can calculate the last formula. Okay. So below this write down x of t is equal to x s t into 1 minus cos omega n t. Now we'll move towards the next loading condition for the rectangular force. rectangular load. So write down below this rectangular load. Rectangular load. Draw the diagram. Okay. So in this case, we have to use the basic equation of the Hamilton's integral once again, but boundary conditions will be getting changed from this for this rectangular load. So you can see from this figure f of tau, that is the force impulse force is over there, and that time t is here, and the f naught is the initial condition at time t is equal to 0, and at that time t is equal to 0, f is also 0, but time will become td, so at that time f will become as a fd. Okay. So now in this case, the constant load f naught is applied for the limited time period of td as shown in figure, and for both initial displacement and velocity, both are 0, equation can be written as at initial condition. Okay, so I will write first the whatever our equation, and from this you will understand. So what is our equation? Our basic equation of the Hamilton's integral is x of t will be that x of t will be equal to x naught cos omega t plus v naught upon omega n into sine of omega t plus integration of 0 to t f naught into sine of omega t minus tau into d tau. So that is the equation. But at this point t is equal to 0, then x will be equal to 0 and v will be equal to 0. Means at initial boundary condition that x of t will be equal to 0, that will be equal to only the integration part is remaining, that is 0 to t and into sine of that omega f naught into sine of omega t minus tau into d tau. Only this much is remaining because of the initial boundary condition at time t is equal to 0. But if we take that time t is equal to td, then f will be become is equal to fd. Okay, v will be become as a vd and x will be become as a xd. Okay, so that is the difference over here. So now we'll see what is the changes will be over here. So at time t you can see we'll erase these all parts first. Okay, so at time t is equal to 0, that x will be equal to 0 and the v equal to 0. That's why only third terminology related to the Hamilton's will be integral will be remaining here, and that is the x of t is equal to 1 upon m omega n into f of tau into sine of omega n t minus tau. Now we have to solve once again this derivation integration, and that will be again that is the x of t will be equal to f naught upon m omega n square into 1 minus cos omega n t. Okay, if we take the velocity derivative of this, so it will become f naught upon m omega n integration of, that is the derivative of 1 is 0, cos the derivative, that is minus sin getting cancelled. So I will get the value of p and value of x. Both values I will get. And if we apply the boundary condition at time t is equal to td, then x of td and x that velocity at td will get. And if we both these values, if we use into the initial Behamon's integral, and at that time we'll get the final equation, that is x of t at time t is equal to td minus t, and at that time we get x naught cos omega n t plus v naught upon omega n into sin of omega n t, and the equation will become like this: 1 upon m omega n time is td to the t, and f of tau into sin of omega n into t minus tau minus d tau into d tau, so that equation is becomes like this final equation. That is the f, that final equation is becomes like this: f naught upon m omega n square into that 1 minus cos omega n t. Okay, only you have to learn here, only you have to see here whatever the steps I am using here for this derivation. Okay, don't go in detail derivation, because these derivations are bigger, and that's why you should know only the concept. And I will provide you the notes. These are very simple. At your home also you can easily solve this all the derivations. Only the boundary conditions you have to use at time t is equal to 0, boundary conditions at time t is equal to 0, v is equal to 0, and the x is equal to 0. If we go towards the time t is equal to td, then we have to calculate the time at time t is equal to td, and at time t is equal to td, at that time x will be equal to xd, and v is equal to vd, because that time is over there, that is time t is equal to td, and so that condition we have to use. And in the third case, there is again what the condition limits are used here, that td with respect to the t, and that's why from this equation, that equation is becomes like this. This is one of the bigger equation, and the new point will become here, that is dynamic load factor. So what is the dynamic load factor? So write down this new point, dynamic load factor. That question will be asked to you as per as the MCQ based questions. Dynamic load factor DLF is a dimensionless parameter. Dimensionless parameter, and which is displacement at any time. Displacement at any time with respect to the static displacement. Displacement at any time with respect to static displacement. Displacement at any time with respect to the static displacement. Displacement at any time with respect to the static displacement. Write down DLF is equal to x of t divided by x s t. X of t upon x s t. Below this, write down for time t is less than td. For time t is less than td, DLF is equal to 1 minus cos omega n t. Okay, that is the DLF factor. Now we'll see the triangular loading conditions. Below this, write down triangular load. Triangular load. if a system is represented by if a system is represented by if a system is represented by the undamped oscillator undamped oscillator comma initially at rest and subjected to force f of tau subjected to force at f of tau which has initial value here f naught which has initial value f naught which has initial value f naught which decreases to 0 at time td 0 at time td. Draw the diagram for triangular loading condition. Okay, so these triangular loading conditions you have to try at your home. Because it is a big derivations, but only the boundary conditions, same boundary conditions were used here. We'll see the next point, that is the response history. Response history. For triangular loading conditions, whatever the load is there, from this load DLF dynamic load factor, which is calculated, and that is one of the type of the triangular loading which is considered under the dynamic loads which are coming on the structures. Okay, and now we'll see the what is the response of these different types of the loading conditions with their history. Okay, so for a given ground motion, the deformation response of SDOF system is depends only on the natural vibration period Tn. Okay, we'll see how that is depends upon this deformation response of single degree of freedom system is depends on natural vibration period, that is Tn, and its damping ratio zeta. Okay, once the deformation history u of t, that is the displacement, and has been evaluated by dynamic analysis of structure, integral forces can be determined by static analysis at each instant of time, and this is achieved mainly by using the concept of equivalent static force Fs, and can be related to earthquake forces specified in the building code. So you can write F is equal to K into S, K into U of T, K into X. Already we know Fs is equal to F static is equal to K into X, but X is here, that is the U of T. So if we move towards the F is equal to, you can already we know that F is equal to K into U of T. U of T is the displacement. So K is the lateral stiffness of frame. K is in terms of the mass. How to write the K? Already we know K we can write in terms of the that natural frequency. So how to write that omega n is equal to root of K by M. So that K we can write it as a omega n square into M. So from this omega n square into M into U of T, and that is equal to Fs. Okay. So right in that way we could write, and that F into S is equal to M into A. That already we know. F is nothing but it is an impulse force. That F is equal to M into A. So automatically by comparing this equation and this equation, we get A is equal to what we get, that is the omega n square into U of T, Okay. So at that time, observer's equivalent, the static force is M times the A of T. That means that Fs is equal to F into S is equal to M into A of T. So that is the observer's equivalent static force is M times that A of T, not M times the acceleration of T. Acceleration of U of double. Okay. So we got this relation over here from this derivation. Already we know the formula of omega n is equal to root of K by M. If we put the value of K over here, so we'll get the further derivation. We'll get the further calculation. So first you write the response spectrum, response theory, response history. You write response history. For a given ground motion, that is deformation response of single degree of freedom system depends only on the natural vibration period, Tn, and its damping ratio zeta. Once the deformation history U of T has been evaluated by dynamic analysis of structure, the internal forces can be determined by static analysis. At each time instant, and this is achieved mainly using the concept of equivalent static force Fs, because it can be related to earthquake forces specified in the building code. So below this write down Fs of T is equal to k into u of t, k into u of t, where k is lateral stiffness of frame, where k is the lateral stiffness of frame, lateral stiffness of frame, expressing k in terms of mass m, expressing k in terms of mass m, f s of t is equal to m into omega n square into u of t, because that k is replaced by formula omega n is equal to root of k by n by squaring on both sides. K is equal to omega n square into m into u of t, where already we know fs of t is equal to m into a, so a of t is equal to omega n square into u of t, and that is the pseudo acceleration. So the equivalent static force is m times a of t. Equivalent static force is m times a of t. Comma, not m times acceleration, that is u double dot of t. Write down next point. Equation of motion of single degrees of freedom system with equilibrium, with earthquake vibration, with EQ, that is the earthquake vibration. Draw this diagram. I will wait for 2 minutes. Okay, so equation of motion of single degrees of freedom system with earthquake vibration, and we'll see that part in the next lecture. Okay, in this lecture we have whatever points we have finished that I will revise here. In this lecture we have studied what is the first point. We have seen the unit number 4 started with response spectrum theory. From that we have seen what is the central idea of the chapter, again importance of the chapter, title of the chapter. That point we have seen. After that we have seen the first point, that was the what is the Duhamel's integral. So generalized, what is the response spectrum to the generalized loading? That point we have seen. After that, with the Duhamel's integral, equation of motion for the Duhamel's integral by considering the different boundary conditions, and from how we have used this Duhamel's integral to solve the general dynamic loading towards the constant force. Again, we have used this formula, used this Duhamel's integral to solve the general dynamic loading for the triangular as well as the rectangular loadings. Again, in that rectangular loading, triangular loadings, and in the constant force, we have applied some of the boundary conditions, and we have seen the factor like a DLF, that is the dead load factor. So that factor also x static upon x. That factor also, it is a unitless quantity. It is a unitless quantity, but it is a maximum displacement towards the x static towards x to the x static. That is the DLF factor also we have seen. After that, the next point we have seen, that is the effect of this damping, and what is the impulse force, F force. That is it is multiplication of m into a. That is the massive impulse force is a multiplication of m with respect to the a. That parameters we have completed in this lecture. Whatever the remaining part about the what is the spectrum, its type of different spectrum and their ranges, that part we'll see in the next lecture. So for this today's lecture, we'll stop here. So thank you all. You can use the chat box for putting the attendance. Thank you all. Now I will end the lecture.